Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine Show. Yes, I am here. I'm here every week for 3 hours talking about the great outdoors, the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. And it is my pleasure, it is my honor, it is my privilege to be able to do that. And I thank you for this opportunity on an Easter weekend. Blessed Easter weekend to you. It's going to be a little bit different this year, isn't it? No church services, probably no big family gatherings. I know at our house there's not going to be. We are going to have a Michigan brand ham for Easter, though. I'll tell you that. We're not going to give up that. But interesting time. A great time to be outdoors, to head outdoors, to get out and enjoy the fresh air, to enjoy Mother Nature. And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. With everything going on, isn't it wonderful to get outside, to breathe some fresh air, to look at Mother Nature? For the critters, nothing has changed. The turkeys, the geese, the ducks, the fish. Nothing going on in their world, so why not get out and be a part of their world, to get back to something a little bit more normal? Great time to do that. I am getting ready myself for turkey season. My season starts the 18th. It's Hunt ZZ. It's the Southern Michigan private land season. This year starting on Saturday, as most of the seasons, if not all of them are. My season now runs from April 18th through the end of May, through the end of the mosquito season. Now, even with a recurve, I don't think it's going to take me that long. I do think we'll see. I don't want to make any predictions about a turkey hunt. Let's just say I'm glad I'm hunting on a property that has a lot of birds, because when I hunted with a recurve a few years ago, I missed, I think, 3 birds before I actually shot my nice, big, beautiful longbeard. So I have been shooting. I've been practicing, been shooting the predator recurve. I've been shooting it sitting down, because I will be hunting out of a blind, so you don't want to do all of your practicing standing up if you're actually going to hunt while you're sitting down. So I've been sitting in a portable chair that I'm going to use in the blind, using one of those see-through blinds that I just absolutely love. Because what are the downfalls of hunting from a blind, right? Your limited visibility. If you've got one of the new see-through blinds, you can see everything coming all the way around you. So critters don't sneak up on you as much as they would from the old-fashioned blinds. And by the way, my blind is set up. I have found that turkeys, for the most part, are not blind shy. I have seen many situations where I've set up a blind in the morning and had a bird walk by an hour later. I mean, right by. Doesn't seem to bother them. However, I'm hunting a new piece of property this year. And my friend Scott, who owns the property, says for whatever reason, he hasn't seen that at his place. So we set the blind up a good week and a half, 2 weeks early, so the birds will get a chance to get used to it. I was going to buy my license online, and as I buy a lot of my licenses, and I got thinking, with everything going on, with the system slowed down, what happens if I go to buy my license online and I don't get my kill tag in time for the 18th? So I found a local hardware store that sells licenses, and I bought it in person. So I have it. I have the tag in my pocket right now, so I'm ready to go. It is a Saturday opener this year. I think for most people that's great news. For me, not so much. I liked the Monday openers because I have a little bit more of a flexible schedule. I liked being out there on a Monday. It just worked better with my schedule. But Saturday obviously makes more sense for most people, and that's why it was done, to make it as easy as possible to take advantage of the springtime turkey season. Now, there are still rumors going around, and I said this last week, and I'll probably say it this week, and I'll say it next week, and probably the next few weeks, because this situation is changing so fast, things that I talk about here in the studio right now on Wednesday, as we are recording the show, could be different by the time you hear the radio show this weekend and certainly the podcast. But as of right now, I don't care what you're seeing online, there are no plans to cancel the Michigan springtime turkey season. The DNR has no plans to cancel the springtime turkey season. However, if our commander-in-chief decides that she wants to shut it down, she could order it shut down. I don't see a reason for that, and I'm praying that doesn't happen because we need a little break, right? We need to get out there and chase birds right now. So I'm planning on it. I hope you're planning on it as well. Morels are starting to pop across the southern part of the state. That's another good excuse to get out and do some wandering around the woods by yourself, some social distancing, some fresh air, some a breeze in your face. Interact with Mother Nature. Morels are starting to pop. They will work their way north here. Of course, the old saying is the best morel hunting is Mother's Day, and that's a ways off yet. The angler quest is still not in the water for a couple of reasons. Number one, the marina that I keep my boat in, I don't have the keys to get in there yet. Normally by this time of the year, it would be open and I would have keys and I'd be good to go. So I've got that working against me. I hope to get those keys here sometime very soon. However, at this point, since turkey season is basically just around the corner, I will probably wait to put her in the water until after turkey season. First things first, right? Concentrate on one thing, then the other. And also, my boat is at Linwood Beach Marina. And Linwood Beach Marina is shut down right now. Although my sister-in-law sent me a picture. She was taking a walk the other day. And my boat is sitting on a trailer at Linwood Beach Marina. I could, in theory, drive out there, hook onto it, and put her in the water. After turkey season, though. After turkey season. And, my concern over possibly not getting my license in time for turkey season. Everything is slowed down right now. Now, the DNR did say that they were doing their best to get those tags out there. But I didn't want to take a chance, so I bought my tag in person. Speaking of systems being slowed down, right now I'm still waiting for my CPL, my concealed pistol license renewal. I've got some time there, so I'm not too worried about it. And I did finally hear back from the Coast Guard on my captain's license paperwork. This has been an ongoing saga. I did drag my feet. I took my class last spring with Captain Mel Stackpool of Great Lakes Charter Training, and I kind of dragged my feet on doing my paperwork, and it's coming back to bite me now, as I pretty much figured it would. I submitted my paperwork, and there were, I don't know how many different documents. I submitted it electronically because I didn't trust the mail right now. I thought that would be the way to go. I submit it, it'll be in the system. Well, that was about 3 weeks ago I submitted it. The Coast Guard does not accept zip files. They want PDF files. And the size limit on the emails is 8 megs. I had to send them 9 different emails with my documentation to give them everything they needed. And I put them in files. I put them in folders labeled drug test, physical, first aid, so they'd be easy for the folks to deal with on the other end. Didn't hear back from them, so I got in touch with them. They said, "Oh, we don't accept zipped files." I said, "The files aren't zipped. They're PDF files put in a folder for your ease." "Well, sir, you'll have to resend them." So I resent them to a different email address. Didn't hear anything back. Resent them again to 3 different email addresses to make sure they'd get there. Finally got an email from the Coast Guard. They say, "Good morning. We have received your information," in parentheses, 9 emails. I think that was a dig. "And it has been forwarded to the appropriate division for review. Your submission will be processed in the order it was received. Your patience during this time is appreciated. Have a great day." So I'm in the system. Whether it will be approved within the year guidelines, I don't know. Maybe with everything going on, they might extend that. So I'm waiting on that. I'm really jonesing to get out and chase some bluegills on the pond behind the house. I want to do this with a fly rod. I was hoping to get this new fly rod set up at Jay's, but of course Jay's is temporarily shut down. So if you have a spare fly reel, you want to send it to me? I'll send it back to you when I'm done. The goose barricade is still working, although, and I wondered why this wasn't the case. Geese can fly, you know, but apparently geese don't know they can fly because I put this fence up, a 3-foot snow fence, and they won't jump over it. They won't fly over it, thank God. Although yesterday, one flew over it. We'll see how that works out. Hey, this is Easter weekend, right? I hope that you have a blessed Easter weekend, even though it's not like we're used to having. And if there was ever a time to look toward Easter and to God and to faith and to resurrection and something bigger than us, this is the time. If nothing else, this coronavirus is teaching us if we put our faith in things here in this world, we're spitting into the wind. So my wish is for you this Easter weekend that you'll forget about the chocolate bunnies and the Easter eggs. Take a look at this empty tomb. God sent his son here to die for us, and he was resurrected. If God can do that, he can get us through this coronavirus. And he will. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, Nick Green of MUCC talking about the image that hunters and anglers are putting out and why he thinks maybe we're making a mistake. Coming up after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Traverse City on WTCM. That's 580 AM. You can hear us in Holland on WHTC AM and FM, 1450 AM, 99.7 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Newberry, WNBY, 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Boning Archery. Michigan-based Boning has been a leader in the archery industry since the mid-'40s. These days, they continue to innovate, come up with new products. Boning makes everything for bows and arrows except bows and arrows. Check them out online at boning.com. That's BOHNING.com, boning.com. And what a great time, since you've got a little extra time on your hands, to be making some arrows. And Boning makes some wonderful arrow fletching, arrow building kits. Check them out online, boning.com. While you're online, of course, my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. MikeAveryOutdoors.com, the online clearinghouse for all things Outdoor Magazine, radio, and the podcast, and Mike Avery Outdoors. And also check out this website, MUCC.org. MUCC, one of the websites of the Michigan United Conservation Clubs. I am a member of that group. I support them. I believe in them. To the point where if you want to save 25% on your MUCC membership, you can. Go to that website, MUCC.org, click on the link that says join, and use the promo code MIKE, M-I-K-E, and you can save 25% on your MUCC membership. And thank you, MUCC, for making that possible. MUCC right now, like most organizations, people are working remotely. They're working from home, including Nick Green, who is the Chief Information Officer for Michigan United Conservation Clubs, and with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Nick, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Hey, how you doing? How you holding up there, working out of the house? Is it driving you crazy, or are you being productive?
Dog training season has moved up exponentially, and I think I may have my dog trained to get a beer from the fridge before the week's over. So we got that going for us.
At least you're putting your time to good use, that's for sure. Hey, Nick, what is your role there at MUCC? What's your job?
So I am our public information officer. So I handle all of our communications, forward-facing and internal communications. And what I tell people is I need to know enough about every program to be dangerous. So I talk about, I do club visits and talk about everything MUCC does. I do visits where I talk very specifically about program areas that we work in. I'm a registered lobbyist for MUCC. I'm also the editor of Michigan Outdoors Magazine. So I get to do quite a few different things in my role here at MUCC.
that external communication, talking with your constituents, your members, that is, I think, more important these days than ever.
It is, the value of a communications person who can understand marketing and understand the audience that you're speaking to is important. In small businesses across the board, whether they're nonprofits or for-profits, they're recognizing that there needs to be a good communication strategy and a good line of communications with the people they're trying to serve. And MUCC has had that for decades. I mean, we go back to having very famous editors like Ken Lowe, Dennis Knickerbocker, Drew Youngdyke you talked with recently. He's the former communications person before me. So we have a long history here of great communicators at MUCC.
Oh, and these days there are so many different venues, so many outlets to get the word out about what you guys are working on.
There is, we obviously are web heavy, so we do a lot of digital stuff, but we also are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So we work in them all, and some of us, in the office are better at some of those platforms than other and reaching an audience. So we try to kind of tap each other when we need to get the word out on certain platforms.
And you also have a Michigan Out of Doors podcast. We'll talk a little bit later about this subject this week, but I just want to let folks know that there's a new MUCC podcast coming out here very soon. Keep an eye out for that. It'll be on the website, mucc.org. But, Nick, the topic at hand, and this comes about because you and I were talking the other day, off air, obviously, about this whole coronavirus situation as it pertains to hunters and anglers and how maybe we are portraying ourselves and not doing as good a job as we can. I want to follow up on that. Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah, so I think to start first, in case people haven't heard, yesterday, which would have been on Tuesday, I know this airs on the weekend, Tuesday of this week, the Michigan legislature voted to extend the stay home, stay safe order until the end of April. So that was a little bit contradictory to what the governor would have liked. But I think we suspect that if or when this needs to be extended again, the legislature will come together and do that. And there are certainly opinions on whether they should be coming together at a time like this, but that is the world we live in. So we have that order now in place until the end of April. A lot of the things that sparked our conversation were photos I'm seeing on social media, especially on Facebook, of people out together with their friends recreating. And this is troubling. We are at a point right now where the outdoors, our public lands, our natural resources are in the spotlight. When people are home, that's one of the only things they're able to go do right now. So we need to be mindful that we're following the executive orders placed by Governor Whitmer. And again, your personal opinion, of that is really irrelevant. Those are the laws right now. So you need to be staying 6 feet apart from people. You need to be only, and this is very important, you need to be only recreating with people in your household. So you shouldn't be going to meet your friends somewhere to do, whatever recreational activity you would like. You need to be doing that with your household, and that's important because the quicker we get through this, the quicker we can go back to normal. So the other thing we kind of talked about is this isn't a time for people to be trying to look for loopholes in their orders or things, ways they can get around it. We really need to be mindful. As I said, the outdoors and the natural resources are in our spotlight. A huge portion of our workforce is home right now, and maybe their only, interaction with the outdoors, they might only go hiking a couple times a year, but right now they're home, so they might be at their state game area every other day. And if they see people that clearly aren't from the same household out there doing things, or whether it's on a stream, whether it's in the woods, that just doesn't paint hunters and anglers in a good light. And again, what I've also talked about is that sportsmen and sportswomen right now, we hold the fate of our outdoor endeavors for the next couple months in our hands. So we need to be mindful of what we are doing, Mike.
Well, and I appreciate you bringing that up because, to be honest with you, I hadn't thought about it in that light. I was one of those guys, and I'll be honest, I don't want to say I was intentionally looking for loopholes, but I was like, well, but what if this, and what if this, and well, we could technically do that. And as you point out, well, maybe technically you can, but is it the best thing to be putting online at least, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I certainly don't want to encourage people to do that, nor post it online. But we shouldn't be looking for those opportunities where we can do that. So you and I had the conversation about, well, even if they're not from your household, you're still abiding by the 6 feet apart. And that may be true, and that probably is true in certain places right now, such as maybe the Detroit River or, the steelhead streams that we have up north that are becoming very populated. But again, 6 feet is the minimum recommendation. I prefer to be places that I can't see anyone. And I think we just need to be mindful, because so many people have a lens right now on hunters and anglers, and this is a chance for us to engage them, show them that we are responsible, show them that we can abide by what the laws are, show them that we're not out to just take from the resource, pick up some trash while you're out there, do something good as well. So it's just it's a tough scenario and a tough situation, and there's, the laws are being interpreted differently, and I think the department is doing the best they can with kind of trying to answer those FAQs. So you probably saw the recent release last week from the department that said, if you're in a boat, we are apt to start looking at your driver's licenses, and if yours doesn't match with someone else in that boat, there's going to be tickets written. So we just need to be careful and remember that the outdoors and natural resources, as I've said several times now, are one of the only ways people are able to get out of their home right now. So there's going to be more people. There's going to be, a lens on what we're doing.
And in today's world, public perception is more important than ever. And I think that's kind of a shame, but it is a fact. It's the way of the world. How we portray ourselves, as you say, has a direct impact on our future, because the bulk of the population that lives in the southern part of the state, most of them are non-hunters and anglers, but they will determine our future when they go to the polls to vote.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right, Mike. So I did this math about, a couple of weeks ago. Michigan has about 6% of our population are hunters. Obviously, we have more anglers, but hunting is, as you can imagine, more of a sensitive subject. So, with the continued decline of hunters, we are going to face a tough road ahead when people go to the voting booths, and the NRC dictates a lot of our natural resources, but you also need to remember, and they're not voted on, but you do vote on the governor who appoints those NRC members. So we just need to be careful, and we need to think about how we're portraying ourselves. And as I said again, this is the perfect time to do the right thing. Hunters and anglers and our public lands especially are in the spotlight, and we need to do the right thing. We need to remind people that, hey, most of our public lands in Michigan, especially our state game areas, those are paid for by hunting and angling dollars. And this is why they're important. You're welcome as a non-consumptive user, as a canoe or hiker, whatever, to come out and recreate on these as well. But we all need to be stewards of the land, everyone, not just hunters and anglers, and also take it upon ourselves to remind people that we are the funders of those lands and kind of the keepers, if you will.
6%. That seems like a crazy number, because for those of us who live in this outdoor lifestyle, most of our friends, most of our family also recreate. They hunt and fish. If you go to the UP, I'm sure that number in the UP is much higher than that, but statewide, that's an interesting number. Nick, hang tight. We got to take a break here on the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, I want to talk more with Nick about some other things. Also, some online or can we call them virtual online projects that they're getting involved in now, because they can't meet in person, but they want to keep people involved. I think they've come up with some innovative ways to do that. 6% of the population of Michigan. I wonder what that number was when I was growing up as a kid on the west side of the state. And I wonder if you broke it down to like the UP, what that number would be. I oftentimes think that when we have these statewide conversations, as we do here on the radio show, that our friends listening from the UP might hear this and go, that's just crazy. That's not the world we live in. But statewide, it is. We'll talk more about that and more after the break with Nick Green of MUCC right here on Outdoor Magazine. you can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Alpena on WZTK 105.7 FM. You can hear us in Mount Pleasant on WMMI, AM and FM, 830 AM, 92.3 FM. And you can hear us in the Sioux on ESPN 1400 WKNW. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Speedy Blaze. Speedy Blaze is a safe, clean, water-resistant alternative to firewood, and it's safe to cook over because it's made from recycled hardwood. It's just kind of sealed in kind of a wax or a non-porous substance, so it doesn't get wet. You can keep it out in the rain. It's really nice stuff. Check them out online at speedyblaze.com. That's speedyblaze.com. When you combine Speedy Blaze with a Solo stove, and by the way, if you go to speedyblaze.com, every month they're giving away a Solo stove on that Speedy Blaze website. What a great combination that is. Speedyblaze.com is the website, speedyblaze.com. Also, a reminder to check out MUCC.org. If you go there and decide you want to join MUCC, and I would encourage you to do that, if you use the promo code MIKE, M-I-K-E, you can save 25% on your MUCC membership. Nick Green is the Public Information Officer for MUCC with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Nick, challenging times for you guys because so many of your projects, like you're on the ground, you're on the water and such, they're designed to have people get together and do habitat projects. What are you doing now?
That's correct, Mike. We have kind of, at least until mid-June, I believe, is what the decision from our habitat programs has been that we will be canceling. So that's tough right now, and we're kind of working through that. But we've come up, our field team has come up with some very creative initiatives. So the first of those is On the Ground, is our public land habitat improvement program. So we're kicked off this week the OTG virtual public land cleanup. So what we're asking people to do is to head to an SGA or some state land near them. Again, being mindful of how far you're traveling. You know, we don't want you traveling hours to get someplace. Most places in Michigan, you can get to a state game area within a half hour, some kind of state land. So get out on a state land. Obviously wear the appropriate personal protection equipment, and pick up some trash. And then also with that, report invasive species as you see them. And Michigan has a very nice app called the MISIN app. That's MISIN app. And you can report invasive species, and then our state and federal workers here, they'll go out and look at those invasive species and either figure out a management plan for them or kind of move forward with what needs to be done. But, you know, our program is just trying to get people outside with their family, with people in their household, pick up some trash, take a photo while you're doing that. Go to our On the Ground page on Facebook, share a brief explanation of why you participated with that photo, and you'll be eligible for one of two Cabela's $50 gift cards.
Great ways to keep people involved in some interesting times, Nick.
It is. And, you know, another initiative that we're working on is our On the Water My Invasive Species Bingo. So this is similar. Go to our Facebook page or mucc.org/on the water. And you can download a bingo card that has invasive species kind of pre-filled for you. There'll be some resources on that website about how to identify invasive species and, you know, which ones are worse or where they're at predominantly. And take a picture with the timestamp, and then you can send that into us, and you'll win a swag bag from On the Water. So that initiative will run from April 7th through May 7th. And obviously with both of these programs, we're asking people to follow all the current executive orders, you know, do these things with people in your household, but do text your friends, call your friends, encourage them to go do it on their state game area. This is a great way to kind of take your own initiative and stewardship of our public lands and be proud of that. So we're happy to kick those off, and we're hoping we get some good participation. On the Ground program that kicked off a little earlier, the cleanup, and that's already getting good participation, and families are out doing it, and kids are having fun. So it's looking like it's going to be a good month for those.
Well, and we will have more on these in the MUCC, the Michigan Outdoors podcast. By the time folks hear the show, that will be probably online, and you can get that at the website mucc.org, correct?
You can, mucc.org, and then head over to michiganoutofdoors.com, and that'll have the podcast on it. The other big thing I'm working on right now is our summer magazine. So that's kind of in full swing, working on getting that laid out and put together. And that will go to the printer in the beginning of May, and then it'll publish on June 1st. So if you would like to receive that magazine, you can go to mucc.org /about, click the join button, enter the promo code Mike, M-I-K-E, and get 25% off. And that June 1 magazine will be in your mailbox.
That magazine, Nick, you're doing a wonderful job with that. That looks absolutely great, and you get to put that together when you're technologically challenged working out of the house.
Yeah, I'm actually, it's tough because I don't have internet at my house, and as I'm talking to you, I have one bar. So I love living out here for the dogs, and I live right across from the Maple River, so in the Maple River State Game area. But it's tough. It's going to prove challenging, but I'm excited to do it. And the magazine is that's my first passion, was journalism and doing this kind of work. So I'm excited, and I'm excited for the magazine. I think people are really going to we're going to have a public lands fishing focus. So we're excited about it, and hopefully people will be buying it off the newsstands or getting it delivered in their mailbox.
All right, Nick, keep up the good work. Nick Green of MUCC, mucc.org, michiganoutofdoors.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News checks in to wrap up this first hour. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Battle Creek on WBCK 95.3 FM. You can hear us in Caro on WKYO 1360 AM. And you can hear us in Saginaw on WSGW FM 100.5. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by the Linwood Beach Marina and Campground. Linwood Beach can be your year-round Saginaw Bay fishing destination and your Mid-Michigan Tracker and Angler Quest headquarters. Right now, as of the time we are recording the show, Linwood Beach is actually closed down temporarily. They're going to open back up when they can. People have been launching boats there at Linwood Beach. They're not preventing you from doing that. My Angler Quest is at Linwood Beach right now. She's calling my name. She's saying, come and get me, come and get me. I'm going to wait till after turkey season. I'm going to play it by ear. But, the folks at Linwood Beach are great people. And like many people right now, they're going through a hard time. So my advice would be, when things get back to normal, whenever that is, that you do business with the folks at Linwood Beach and let them know that you appreciate them being out there. Check them out online at linwoodbeachmarina.com. That's linwoodbeachmarina.com. We live in interesting times. People have to adapt and be flexible right now, including our friends at Woods and Water News, Michigan's premier outdoor publication, woods-and-waternews.com. For example, when Charlie Rood called the offices of Woods and Water News, the man himself, Tom, answered the phone. And Tom, I got to believe you're not only answering phones, you're making coffee and probably sweeping up at the end of the day right now, too.
Oh, that's absolutely right, Mike. Whatever, like you said, whatever it takes, we want to get through this very concerning time, and we want to do it the right way. And so, we're trying to abide by the governor's stay home, stay safe executive order. And so if that's what it takes, I get to answer phones too, but that's all right.
But the media is an essential service, so you are allowed to publish. Yes. And thankfully, technology allows you to do things now that you wouldn't have been able to remotely just a few years ago.
Yeah, exactly right, Mike. I mean, it is so much better. We can communicate with our readers via our website, via our Facebook page, as well as all the other social media avenues. And at the same time, we're getting information from all our writers without any contact. You talk about an industry that works from home. We've been doing that for a number of years now. So in that part, it works out great. And we're hoping to, keep producing a very valuable May issue as it comes out next weekend. And hopefully everything goes well. And that's the best we can do, and stay flexible. And like I said earlier, we just got to follow the rules.
Well, give us a preview of that May edition that's coming out.
Well, of course, we're going to cover everything we've got updated on closures and updates and all the good things that affect the outdoors. Obviously, we all know that the spring turkey season is going on, so of course we got some good tips in there, and spring fishing still going on, as long as we again abide by those rules and social distancing. And the big thing is the travel too. I've already heard that the DNR is really cracking down on boaters that travel a long distance with boat ramp, and I even heard that a few fines have been issued. So, stay close to home, keep that social distancing, and we've got great spring turkey season, and we've got some great fishing, of course, as you're waiting to get your boat out too, as well as me.
And you talk about this traveling a long distance. That's an interesting one, because I cannot find anywhere in writing where there is a limit to the amount of miles we can travel. But I will bring that up in the second hour with Ron Olson from the DNR on that one.
Perfect.
And I don't know about you, Tom, but I have never looked forward to a spring turkey season any more than I am this year.
Absolutely right, Mike. It'll be just nice to be out there. I've been doing some scouting, man. The birds are really active, and a nice peace and quiet out in the woods where you can forget about everything for a few minutes will come in real handy right now for a lot of sportsmen, and I encourage everybody to get out there and try it. And it's a great time for your family too. It's a perfect time if you've got a little extra time and you're at home. It's a great opportunity to do a mentor hunt. Take your son, your daughter out hunting. Take your wife out hunting. Enjoy that spring sunrise and hear those gobblers and roost. It might give a little mental health for everybody.
Absolutely. If I remember right, too, I think you said last year the number of birds in your neck of the woods were down. What are you seeing on your scouting?
Similar. The birds really seem to be in certain areas. They're really still grouped up. Yet at the same time, I've seen a lot of strutting and a lot of toms. Actually, seen a couple fights between Jakes and Toms. So they seem still to be quite isolated, quite grouped up. If you're lucky enough to have that piece of property where they preferred that habitat, you're going to obviously be a successful turkey hunter, most likely. Others are going to have to wait maybe till it spreads up a little bit more, a few more birds get isolated and stretch those toms out. But, if you do it right and try all those tips and tactics that we print in Woods and Water News, hopefully you'll be successful.
There we go. And we just got to read Woods and Water News to be successnews. Tom, keep up the good work. Hang in there, and we'll talk again
Mike.
soon.
You too. All right. Take care.
All righty. Tom Campbell of Woods and Water News, the website woods-n-waternews.com, woods-n-waternews.com, Michigan's premier outdoor publication. I say that on a regular basis, and I stand behind it. We have a lot of great outdoor publications here in Michigan, but I believe Woods and Water News is the very best. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to talk morel mushrooms with morel master Clayton Edney. Then Ron Olson from the DNR answering some questions, and Paul Perone of VersaSkins talking about a big discount program they've got right now with everything going on. That's coming up in hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Indeed, this is the big guy, Mike Avery. Welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network, 29 AM and FM stations across the great state of Michigan. talking about the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here in the great state of Michigan, the celebration of hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and all things outdoors, and just being outside, getting some fresh air. Boy, has it ever been more important than it is right now, too, right? I mean, get out and recharge your soul, your mind, your spirit, your body. Oh, it's a wonderful alternative to have right now. I mentioned the Outdoor Magazine radio show. This is first and foremost a radio show. It is recorded, produced as a radio show for air on those stations across the great state of Michigan. Most of those affiliates carry all 3 hours of the show. Not all of them do, and I understand that, and I appreciate the fact of any access to the airtime. And not all parts of our state are covered by the broadcast signal of the show, which I think is just a crime. I think the governor should make that mandate that every part of the state should be covered by the radio show, the Outdoor Magazine radio show. But she's got her hands busy on other stuff right now. If you can't hear all 3 hours of the show on your local station, or if you live in some small part of our state not covered by the broadcast signal, you can hear the show as a podcast. Podcasting is a hot word these days. I've been doing it for a long, long time. The podcast version of the radio show is available on my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. It's also available on the Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page. It's available on the Avery Outdoors Twitter feed. If you're on LinkedIn, you can find it there. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Google Play. It's also available through our mobile app. Yes, we have an Outdoor Magazine mobile app. You can download it free from the iTunes Store or Google Play Store. We're on iHeartRadio, on SoundCloud, Spotify, TuneIn, Stitcher, Radio.com, and now YouTube as well. I know it's a radio show, but I put the show up on YouTube. So there's lots of ways to listen to the radio show and the podcast version of. Regardless of how you are hearing my voice or when you are hearing my voice, I really do appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. And isn't it nice to have this opportunity to talk about something other than what's going on in the world that we are bombarded by every day in the news? Let's talk about the outdoors. Let's talk about getting outside. Let's talk about having some fun. For me, I'm looking forward to turkey season. While I'm out there hunting turkeys, I'm going to have my eye on the ground as well, looking for morel mushrooms. I'm not very good at finding them. I admit that right now. But there's a guy I know. In fact, I call him Michigan's morel master. His name is Clayton Edney, and he runs the Michigan Morels Facebook page, and he keeps an eye on what's going on. Clay, welcome back to the show. How are you? Clay, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, hey, how you doing, Clay?
Good.
You are taking time out from a very, very important job to talk with us, and I do appreciate it. So thank you for that, and thank you for what you're doing to help people out. And I am hearing reports and seeing some pictures of some morels popping up in the southern part of the state.
Yep, looks like we're starting to get some coming, and it looked like Billy Walters of Oakland County found the first morel mushroom in Michigan on March 29th.
March 29th. Is that unusually early, or is that about right?
On some years it's early. Usually it's about the first week of April. I mean, I picked them in, I think, like 1993 in February 15th.
Wow.
And it was like 70, 80 degrees. We were ice fishing in T-shirts. So it can happen anytime. It's just up to Mother Nature to tell us when. What
is the appeal of this endeavor, looking for morels, that has allowed you to put together a very popular Facebook page? People come to that page this time of year to find out what's going on. Why?
Because the morel mushrooms are the best to eat.
That's what it comes down to. It's like a challenge, but then it's good eating too.
Right. Yeah, it's like you were saying, good time to get out in the woods, go look for them. You found more than your buddy over here. But getting it home, cutting them up, and cooking them, that's the reward right there.
And right now, it's one of the things we can do with our family. We can get out and tromp around the woods and look for them.
Yep. This is the time to do it, with all the bad things going on. And give people something to do. Take your family for a walk out in the woods. Meet your buddy there. Stay, do your normal thing, what you're supposed to do at this time, what's going on.
Where do we find them? This is the $64,000 question. Where do we find morels?
Okay, for the blacks that you start seeing right now that are coming up, they're a cold weather mushroom. We'll find them in the poplar, the elm, the ash, cherry, cottonwood, and tulip poplar, which is a whitewood.
Well, how many different kinds of morels are there in Michigan?
There's blacks that come up first, and then there's whites, yellows. Some people call them whites because they start out white, and then they turn yellow. And then once it gets warmer and warmer during the season, they'll just come up and be yellow. It's all temperlated.
Do they all taste the same, or do they have their own taste?
Nope, the blacks, I think personally the blacks taste better. There's more flavor to them, more woodsy flavor than the yellows and the whites.
How do you like to cook them up?
Sauteed in butter with a little salt. Slowly cook them down, cook the water out of them because the mushrooms mostly water in them.
Nothing fancy there, just good.
Nope, it's pretty simple. Pretty simple. Cut them in half. Get your slugs. Make sure you ain't got no bugs in them. Put them in the pan with some butter.
That is an interesting point too. Make sure you wash them good. Check them for bugs or slugs or whatever, and then dirt or sand or stuff too, right? I mean, how do you get that all out of them?
Right. Yeah. I don't like soaking my mushrooms. Some people do. I've had mushrooms go bad from soaking. So a lot of times what you'll do is when you're in the woods, it all starts in the woods. You cut them off right, on the stem, pinch them off or cut them, and don't get dirt into them, and put them into a mesh bag, which will let the spores come out and let the dirt fall off, because you will know if you have dirt in your mushrooms, you'll have a crunchy mushroom.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So you do like the concept of putting them in an onion bag or something to let those spores fall out. You like that idea?
Yeah, I mean, you can argue it both ways, any way you want. I mean, it's more you want the air to be on the mushroom, helps them keep preserved. It lets the dirt fall off, lets the spores maybe help mycelium get grown back into the ground.
Well, if you put them in a plastic bag, I would think you get condensation in there. It could make them kind of mushy too.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it's all about right there.
Huh. Can you store them? Can you freeze dry them? Can you freeze them? How do you do that?
Yeah, a lot of people dry them out, hang them on like pin a needle, a line, dry them out. I like doing mine where I'll saute them down halfway, and then I'll turn it off, let it cool down, pour all the liquid, all the mushrooms in a freezer bag, lay it flat in the freezer, and then when you're ready to cook them again, just take the whole thing, unthaw them, put them back in the fry pan, and then finish cooking the water out of it. And they taste great.
How long can you keep them that way?
I've kept them for a year.
Oh, really? How did you get started in this? I mean, at this level, a lot of us go out and bump around looking for morels, but man, you're like the master.
Right. Thanks for that. But maybe I'm 50 now, almost 50, and then about 20, so it's 30 years ago, I used to go turkey hunting with older guys that we would always have to go up north around Baldwin to go turkey hunt. Well, you could only hunt till noon back then, and then they would take and go out mushroom hunting. I hated mushrooms. Oh, I don't want to do this. This is terrible. Well, we started picking mushrooms, and they were showing me how to do it, and then brought it back, cooked them up, and I was like, well, let's skip the turkey hunting. Maybe we'll do some more mushroom hunting. But
you've taken it to the next level.
I'm not any more different than everybody else. Some people are just passionate about some things that they just love to go out in the woods. Like we were brought up as kids and, taught this way. And I just like getting out, getting them. I like trying to be the first one to find them. Of course, this year didn't work out that way with what's going on. Been too busy. But now my son, all these years I thought, well, he's not paying attention. Well, here he is out in Allegan Forest. Well, I give away one of my spots.
It's a big county. That's all right.
Sending me pictures of mushrooms that he's finding, I guess he was paying attention over the years.
See? He's listening, Clay. He's listening.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, I know you're busy at work, but I got a lot more, several more questions. Can you stick around for a little bit more, Clay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I appreciate that. We're talking with Clayton Edney. He is the Michigan's Morel master, in my opinion. And he runs a very cool Facebook page, facebook.com/Michigan Morels. You'll know you're at the right page when you find a guy holding a big, beautiful brown trout with a bunch of morels in the background. You got the right spot. Facebook.com/Michigan Morels. More with Clay Edney after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold. That's WCBY, 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Manistee on WMLQ, 97.7 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Iron Mountain, WMIQ, 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by MUCC's On the Ground program. OTG is a program to improve habitat for fish and wildlife across the state. Now, as you heard Nick Green in our first hour talking about, MUCC has had to put their in-person projects on hold until this situation all shakes out. But they're doing a lot of things online, and you can learn about those at mucc.org. That's mucc.org. While you are online, I would encourage you to check out my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. And check out this Facebook page, facebook.com/Michigan Morels. It is the definitive online source to keep track of what's going on with our morels. And the guy behind this page is Michigan Morel Master, Clayton Edney. And Clay is on the Outdoor Magazine phone line with us right now. Clay, how do we find these things? You talked about where you find them, but I have a problem. I can look at a piece of woods and I don't see them, and my buddy will be standing right next to me and he'll see a dozen of them in front of me. What am I missing? What are the tips you can give us?
The most important thing about mushroom hunting is it's all about trees. You got to learn your trees. You got to learn them without the leaves on. You just, when it starts getting better, the bigger yellow ones and will start popping the white ones, and you'll find them a lot easier. You find them around the dead elms, pines, the apple trees, the sycamore. You got to kind of squat down and kind of look and try to catch just the top of that mushroom through the leaves or something.
So you're getting down. You're getting down at their level.
Yeah. I'll lean down, look up the hills. Try once you find one, then if you start looking, you probably pass, 10 or 12 of them. So you got to look back behind you and just keep looking around, try to see them.
How far out ahead of you are you looking?
Oh, I don't know, 10, 15 feet, 2 feet, 3 feet. You just keep kind of looking ahead of you.
Do you believe that some people just have a knack for it?
Oh, yeah. It's all about spots. You got to find that good spot. You just don't find a bunch of them accidentally. I mean, sometimes you accidentally do, but these guys that are all out getting all these mushrooms first, these are the guys that do it every year. They're always on the first on the board. They have them really good spots, and they know where to go.
And will a spot produce year after year?
Year after year, I've been picking spots for 20 years now in the same spot. Now, that's the black morels. They'll stick around in the spot a lot more. The yellows and the whites, once a dead elm grows, it loses its bark, it finally dies, that area will die out because the nutrients that it needs for the mushroom to live will die off.
That's got to take a few years, though, I would imagine.
Yeah. Sometimes you can find the elms that still have the leaves on them, and you'll find the mushrooms. Then you'll start seeing where the bark's just starting to peel. About that time is when it's at its best. And a couple years after the bark has fallen off, it'll still produce. It's when another mushroom comes in and takes over that tree and starts, eating at it.
Let's talk about the safety here a little bit. I mean, a guy like you know what you're doing, you know what you're picking, you know what you're eating. But any words of advice for people just getting started?
Right. For the ones that are just getting started, and that's more who we're focusing towards on this program is, you want to make sure that if you cut them in half, they're hollow from the whole inside's one piece attached. If you have questions, like our page is we have 4 knowledgeable people that are on the page that if you want to ask questions, send a question, put it on the page, we'll answer it. You just got to watch out. There's some mushrooms that look like a regular morel mushroom, but may not be. Advanced mushroom people can eat it or will eat it, but if you're not sure, do not eat a wild mushroom that you're not sure of.
Well, because the wrong one can really make you sick, can't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, you can get sick off of eating. Like some people, I know people that are allergic to the black ones, but they can eat the white ones. It works that way where you want to make sure that mushroom is cooked all the way through, cooked down good to get the toxins out of it, and then eat a little bit at a time. Make sure if it's your first time eating mushrooms that you don't have a allergic reaction to them.
That's a good point too. Like wild asparagus and stuff, you can chew on that and eat it raw, but you don't want to do that with a mushroom.
Right, mushrooms are a whole different game. Yeah, you don't want to eat mushrooms raw. No, never.
And you said earlier too that you want to what? You want to pinch them off just above the ground. Why not just pull the whole thing up?
Right. Well, then the mushrooms don't have a root, but you're pulling them into the mycelium. Some people want to argue about it, which is better, good. They've done studies. Doesn't show any difference either way. If you cut them off right the stem's still eatable or edible, and that's all your mushrooms to eat. And then, like say, the most important thing is it keeps the dirt out of your bag with the other mushrooms. Because once you get crunchy mushrooms, you're never going to want to eat them again.
That's for sure. Will another mushroom grow out of that same spot once you pick it?
I don't know if it'll come right out of the exact same spot, but I mean, you'll find clusters of 12 that are all together. And, when it gets good.
How often do you hit your spots?
Every other day. I'll hit them. I'll check them every other day. They'll pop, or you'll miss them, or you'll get the bigger, the smaller ones will grow a little bit bigger. You can see them a little better. Maybe that leaf's come up a little bit higher, move, got the wind. It opens it up.
Any idea how many different spots you've got in your computer database in your head there?
Oh, I got spots even all the way up the Jordan River Valley from. I haven't been up there in 10 years, but I can bring you right to the same spot. No problem. I mean, that's the most important thing. If you're a novice, you just getting started out, you hear the show, and you go, okay, I'm going to go out. Don't be disappointed that you're not going to find nothing. Pay attention. See where cars are parked. That's what I do. The smart guys, like, the serious guys, they park on the other side of the road, so you think they're over there and they're over there. You just got to pay attention and find spots. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of walking, but you're out in the great outdoors of Michigan.
And these spots, they only get handed down to family, right? I mean, a good mushroom spot, a good morel hot spot is like the holy grail to some people.
Oh, yeah. It's the best kept secret in the world. Don't bring your friends because they're not going to be your friends for long because they know your spot. They're going to be out there the day you're not there.
Yeah. So the blacks come up first. And then what do you say is the next one, the white?
Yeah, the whites and the yellows. Some people, they go black. Some people say grays. They'll call them grays at first. All it is an immature white. They'll grow around the pines and stuff and they'll start coming up in about the same area of the blacks. Then you'll get the whites. They'll start out whites because the temperature hasn't got high enough where when the temperature gets high, when they come up, they'll be yellow, or they'll grow up big enough to turn yellow.
But there's some other ones out there, too, aside from morels. What else is out there?
For wild mushrooms?
Yeah.
This time of year? I think oyster mushrooms, I mean, if you want to talk about fall mushrooms, there's a lot more different ones there's a lot more wild mushrooms you can pick in the fall than in the spring.
Isn't there a big one that comes up in the spring, though? I'm thinking, is beefsteak, or what's the one that people get in trouble with?
That's when you start getting in that category of false morel. A false morel has a big dark top head, and it looks like a brain. That's considered a false morel. And then there's a couple smaller ones. Now, there's a good illustration of that. There's a picture on our page. If you look down a couple posts, one of the guys, probably Keith, he's pretty knowledgeable on that. He's certified seller for Michigan, and he explains that on that post of all the different kinds of different morels there are.
But for the beginner, stick with the morels.
Stick to the three commons. They're the first three in that picture. If you want to get on that picture and look, stick to the black morels, cut them in half. They're hollow from stem to bottom, and they're attached in one piece. There are called half-freeze. Some people call them peckerheads. They have a tall stem with a small head. Some people eat them. I don't prefer to eat them. I don't like the taste. A lot of people dry them up and use them in soups. That's another one that's edible, but I don't eat them just for personal.
You said one of your guys there on the page is a certified seller. What does that mean?
Keith went and got his Michigan license. He passed the class, and so he can. So if I had a bunch of mushrooms and I wanted to sell them to a restaurant, I could take my mushrooms to Keith. He charges me like $5 to do it, $10. I don't even know. I'm just guessing. And then he can certify my mushrooms to say these are okay to take to a restaurant and sell. He'll give you his ID number to use with that plot of mushrooms, and then you can sell them. That's the only legal way you can sell mushrooms in Michigan to a restaurant.
I didn't even know that was even an option out there, Clay.
Yeah, they did that 3 or 4 years ago because they had a lot of people that were getting sick from people that were selling on the side roads. Places up to the side of you go up north. Back in the day, you go up north, there'd be signs, mushrooms for sale, mushrooms for sale. People started they were selling bad mushrooms, and people were getting sick, so the state did this.
So the season is just starting now. How late into the spring will it go?
Well, just like you said in your first segment, Mother's Day weekend is usually the big kickoff, and a lot of people around here say, well, I don't go out till Mother's Day weekend. Well, they've missed the whole season of blacks usually by then. You got to remember, Michigan, do you guys still have snow up where you're at? I mean, I'm sure the UP probably does, maybe. I mean, it's not cold, so you can go from top to bottom and chase them for probably a month and a half from the time they start down here to the time they're up in the UP. So, it'll start here, go Mother's Day weekend. I used to go Jordan River, Mother's Day weekend. And then Memorial Day, you go just a little bit farther.
Well, listen, Clay, I always enjoy talking with you about this. I mean, that's why I call you Michigan's Morel Master. I'll send people to your Facebook page, facebook.com/Michigan Morels. It's like the definitive online source for all things morel mushrooms. Again, I appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to work, and good picking to you.
Yeah, thank you. Everybody stay healthy, stay positive, and God bless America.
Great advice from Clay Edney, facebook.com/Michigan Morels. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get some questions answered from Ron Olson, at least I hope we will, of the DNR, right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Flint on Super Talk 1570 WWCK. You can hear us in Ludington on News 97.98, 98.7 WLDN. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Ishpeming, WIAN 1240 AM. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you each week by Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. And the way the Ask Avery segment works is You can submit questions to me. You can send me an email to mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, or you can hit me up on one of the social media outlets. You can question for me, or one that you want me to direct to somebody else. And I thought, you know what, with everything going on right now, all the questions that are out there regarding what we can and cannot do, let's check with the DNR. So Ron Olson is along with us. He is the state park chief for the DNR, and he's with us on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Ron, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Well, listen, there's so many questions going on out there right now, but first thing I want to do is direct people to your website and the Facebook page where you guys have put together a list of frequently asked questions, and I think that'll answer most questions people have out there.
Yes, absolutely. It's michigan.gov/DNR, and it's very vividly displayed there, and we keep updating those regularly, pivoting off the executive orders of the governor and any adjustments that we have made up to date.
Ron, I think it's important that we mention, too, that we are recording this show on Wednesday. Things are constantly changing, and by the time people hear this on the weekend, it's not inconceivable that things could change, but we're working on a framework of Wednesday. So let me ask you some questions. Are there any DNR boat launches closed at this time?
The only one that we have closed, which is really for drift boats, and that is at Tippy Dam Recreation Area off the Manistee River in Manistee County, and that's the only one that's been closed. So
some of the other launches around the state that are closed are either municipal or county launches then, I would take it.
Correct. Yes.
And again, that could change depending on directives from above and people's behavior.
Yeah, and mostly the latter, the behavior of people. We are scouting very pointedly very busy sites, and we are beginning to enforce the social separation requirement. It's not advice, it's a requirement of the executive order, and someone could receive a misdemeanor ticket if they fail to separate. And we've started that more aggressively last Friday, and that continues on through today. And actually, there was a few tickets written down near Lake Erie on Sterling State Park this past Sunday.
All right, you led me to my next question. I've heard the rumor that conservation officers are actually checking multiple people in boats to see if they're from the same household or not. So can you confirm that has happened?
That is correct. And they will be out and approaching vessels, and to ensure that people, and that is the order, that people are welcome to have people from their own household that live within their own household in a boat. But if you have friends or people that are not, that's violating the order.
What about the distance we can travel? There seems to be some confusion here. The original thing came out that, yes, you can travel to recreate, and now we're hearing different numbers. I don't even want to throw them out, but is there a set distance we can travel to go fishing?
At this point, there is not a fixed mileage. What we are telling people in compliance with the basically stay-at-home advisory, and that is for people to choose to recreate, to fish, or whatever they want to do, and do it close to home, and do not travel long distances, because the reason is because it encourages stopovers at gas stations and stores and things like that, which creates more opportunity for exposure. And particularly going up north, we've had local officials from local communities in the rural areas where they have indicated concern about travelers coming to their area and potentially spreading the virus. Sure. And their capacity to handle such things is much more limited than in the urban area. So we're just saying people to stay within the local geography, and we'll get through this. And we know that a lot of people have favored fishing spots and places they like to go, but for now, we're telling people it's fortunate you can get out, but do it close to home.
Last real quick question for you. I know it's not directly under your purview, but I gave you a heads up I was going to ask you. I keep hearing rumors that the department is going to cancel the springtime turkey season. Any truth to that?
No, the turkey season is on. We urge, however, that people keep in mind when they're going out that they maintain social distancing, and if you're going or meeting up with other people, that you stay separated and do not. Just because you're hunting doesn't mean you're immune from transmitting this virus. And so, and again, if you're going to go hunting, try to do it as best you can, as close to home as possible.
Ron Olson, I appreciate your time. Thanks for the update. And again, go to the website, michigan.gov/DNR, and check out those frequently asked questions. And again, thank you to our friends at Security Credit Union for making the Ask Avery segment possible. We will take a break. When we come back, Paul Perrone of VersaSkins checks in with something pretty exciting he's got going on. That'll wrap up this second hour of this week's Outdoor Magazine. Thanks, Ron. Welcome back to Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the show on 29 AM and FM stations across the great state of Michigan. The podcast available anywhere in the world. Those broadcast stations include WTWS, The Twister, 92.1 in Houghton Lake. If you are in Port Huron, you can hear us on WPHM 1380 AM. And if you're in Marquette, WDMJ 1320 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Reader Landscaping. Now, the folks at Reader cannot be in the field or in your yard or on your property right now, but they are anxiously awaiting for the situation to change so they can get out there. They will take care of things, and they're, like I said, anxiously awaiting to get out there. Spring cleanup, lawn maintenance, all those good things. The website, readerlandscaping.com. That's readerlandscaping.com. As soon as they can hit the field and get those trucks on the road, they will be out there, and my lawn will be welcoming them as well. A lot of things in flux right now. It's an interesting world, an interesting time, and I think it's wonderful that so many companies are trying to help out people during this time. And I'm thinking right now of Michigan-based VersaSkins. I started wearing VersaSkins hunting clothes last year. I have a prototype set that I'm wearing for the turkey season that we can't talk too much about, but I'm very excited about that. I'll talk more when we can. Paul Perrone is the man behind VersaSkins and with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Paul, welcome back to the show. How you doing?
Good, Michael. Good morning. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there just like everybody else is. You've got some exciting things going on there at VersaSkins, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. We are, constantly trying to push forward and try and bring the consumer what they want. And, we're living in unprecedented times, very uncertain times right now, as you mentioned. And it's difficult for everyone, especially those who want to get outdoors and get out in the woods, get out on the water, and do what Michiganders do, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I love your interchangeable system. It's change your skin for the season you're in. It's one base suit, pants and a jacket, and then you can snap in and zip in or zip on these different changes of the camo pattern so one suit can get you through the entire year. But you got something going on right now, something special.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? What we want to do, obviously, a lot of people are uncertain on what the next day brings, but people are still itching to get out and do some hunting. We've got the turkey season coming upon us, and bear season and things like that. So we want to do our part. We want to help out. Obviously, Mike, I've spoken to you about it, but we want to offer up a store-wide discount of 40% off our entire store, and that also includes free shipping. Any product you buy, you can buy a complete bundle set, which gets you the entire outfit, or even down to a single hat or a sweatshirt or a T-shirt if you'd like. 40% off, free shipping. The code for that obviously is Avery40. Avery40 will get you 40% off the entire store. And hopefully that helps people who are struggling. They still want to get outdoors. Maybe they're looking for some hunting gear or a hat or a T-shirt, and it'll help ease the pain a little bit on the bank. And so Avery40 will get them 40% off the entire store at VersaSkins.
So go to versaskins.com, and then what's the tab? Is it products or shop or checkout? What is the next thing we're looking for?
Yeah, it'd be products, and then you can scroll around. If you want to go into the hunting gear segment, there's jacket and pants. There's also a bundles where you can buy everything that we make on a bundle package. And then there's also a tab for hats, hoodies, sweatshirts, T-shirts, things like that as well.
I wear your hoodie all the time. I love that thing. I probably spend more time in the hoodie than I do your hunting gear, at least this time of year.
I've seen you in it, and your form looks really good with the bow. I saw that on YouTube, and hats off, you're shooting well.
Well, I'm working on it. How long, Paul, will this 40% discount last for? Do you have a sunset on it yet?
No, I don't. We're going to run it, I think, through the end of April. Get people outfitted for turkey and bear. So we're going to run it for 2 or 3 weeks. And you know what? All we can do to help, especially with COVID running rampant, if we can help ease the burden on some wallets, then I say we do it, right? Especially for our friends here in Michigan and all your followers on Avery Outdoors, Mike.
I think that's wonderful. Versaskins.com. Use the promo code Avery40 to save 40%. And Paul, I am so looking forward to using that new super duper secret suit you've come up with. I'll be wearing it for the Turkey Woods here in a couple of weeks.
Well, I appreciate that, Mike, and more to come on that. You and one other person are our prototypers. So once we get feedback on that, then we will decide what the next steps are for launching that and adding that to our VersaSkins arsenal.
Wonderful. Paul Perrone of VersaSkins, appreciate your time. And again, appreciate your generosity. A 40% discount on everything VersaSkins to help people out during this tough time. Go to the website, versaskins.com. That's versaskins.com. Use the promo code Avery40 and save 40% off. VersaSkins, change the skin for the season you're in. How cool is that? Thank you, Paul Perrone. We'll take a break here for the top of the hour. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bow fishing. Yeah, it's that time of the year with Jesse Hurt from the Bow Fishing Association of Michigan, and we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. That's coming up in hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Yider Insurance Group, Forward Corporation and T.R. McTaggart, Angler Quest Boats, Security Credit Union, Garber Chevrolet, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. So glad to have you along with us. Blessed Easter weekend to you and your family. Our Easter celebrations will probably not look quite like they have in previous years, but we will make the most of it as we're making the most of this entire situation. Things are changing. I mean, and things change fast. I'll say it again. Whatever I referenced here on the show as for this week about what we are allowed and are not allowed to do in the outdoors, it's based on Wednesday, April 8th. We record the show on Wednesdays. Things could change by the time you hear this show or the podcast version of the show. So just please keep that in mind. But I think right now, more than ever, our passion for the outdoors is critical. It's one of the things that we can do. We can go places to recreate. We can go outside. We can go hunting. We can go fishing with some caveats. Yes, I understand that. But we can still do it. And as I was standing down by the edge of the pond behind my house the other day, and I'm watching the geese and the ducks and the muskrats and the red-winged blackbirds, and it was like they don't know that anything is different at all. In their world, in the real world, the natural world, nothing has changed. It's just in our world that it's changed. And so to get away from all the craziness that's out there right now, to get away from all the bad news, to get away from the overwhelming news reports that are always bombarding us, get outside, get outdoors, get some fresh air, get the wind, feel the wind in your face. Maybe go out in the rain and get wet, get soaked. Make yourself feel alive. And there are a lot of options to do that. We were talking in the previous hour with Clay Edney from Michigan Morels about going out and looking for some morels. I'm eagerly anticipating the spring's turkey season. I haven't looked forward to a turkey season this much in a long time. I think it's going to be a while before I can get the Angler Quest out, but, I'll do it when I can. Another option that's out there is bow fishing. Now, we used to call it carp shooting, right? But it's not just shooting carp with a bow. It's so many other types of fish. Here in Michigan, we have a very, I think, interesting and active group, the Bow Fishing Association of Michigan. Their website is bowfishbam.com, bowfishbam.com. Jesse Hurst is the new president of that group, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Jesse, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, how you doing? Not too bad.
Hey, congrats on becoming the president. Good for you.
Yeah, thanks. I figure I might as well step it up. Just why not, right?
Well, yes, and all of us who have been a part of groups over the years, sooner or later, you got to step up and do something, or these groups just are going to falter. So good for you, Jesse.
Yeah, it's a good passion of mine, and it's a good time, and there's a lot of great guys involved and women also. And I just figured that this will be the year. Let's do it.
Good for you. Good for you. Jesse, tell me a little bit about bow fishing. It's really popular here in Michigan, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of the easy activities you can really do with a cheap setup and get the kids involved. And I mean, you can even spear, or you can do the bow fishing from shore. You can do it from the boats. There's lots of options in the day or night. It's a shallow water sport, so really you can do it multiple ways.
And unlike, say, bow hunting for deer, where you might let 1 or 2 arrows a year go, bow fishing, you're going to be flinging arrows the whole time you're out there.
Oh, yeah. There's some nights that are slower than others, but for the most part, it's nonstop. You get some good weather, and you get a bunch of fish, and it's a really good time.
And what kind of weather are you looking for? What are we talking?
Well, I mean, really the best, it's better when it's calm. It's better if you're in the daytime if it's sunny. That way you can see in the water better. At night you want it to be calm so you can see through the water with the lights. Really, the better the weather, just like for us, the same as the fish, they like the better weather. So.
Well, it used to be that most people, in fact, almost all people, bow fished during the daytime, but there's really a big push for nighttime bow fishing now, isn't there?
Yeah, a lot of the guys that took it to the next level for quite a while now, and then you get into tournaments and you get into custom setups on boats and lights, and you can get really crazy with it, which is where some of us are at.
I've seen some of the rigs you guys run. Man, you got the walleye and salmon guys have nothing over on you guys.
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys give us dirty looks, but they need to look at the conservation aspects of a lot of it too.
Well, let's talk about that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, some of the guys think that we're just out there shooting everything and, leaving fish all over, dead fish floating and this and that. I mean, occasionally you get fish that do come off and they will die. We try not for that to happen. We try to pick up everything we possibly can. But I mean, we go out there at night and we shoot bowlfuls of fish that some are invasive, some are just numbers need to be in check. We do do our part trying to get rid of those fish and have a good time doing it.
I introduced this whole thing saying we used to call it carp shooting. Obviously, carp are a big target. What else can you guys shoot?
I mean, some of the more popular fish, that we see everywhere, pretty much every place has bullheads. There's yellow and black bullheads. Most places have the suckers. There's multiple types of suckers. But the carp obviously is one of the major ones. They're everywhere. Anywhere there's tributaries, floodwaters, small streams, rivers, anything connecting with those, there's going to be carp in it for the most part. And some places are loaded with them. Some places don't have as bad of a problem yet, but it potentially will be a problem. But there's other fish too that we shoot that we don't see everywhere, like the long-nosed gar. You got quillback and you got the freshwater drum, which are referred to as sheep's head. There's also the rare koi, and there's goldfish some places too. So there's multiple targets, that we can have fun doing our part.
Well, you get a gar, you've made a good shot.
Yeah, they can be tricky. Usually you're used to the deeper water shots, usually 2 to 3 foot, but the gar usually right up top. And it takes a while to get used to shooting at them, but it can be done, that's for sure.
All right, so let's go back to the basics here a little bit. We call it bow fishing. It's you're using a bow to shoot fish. I mean that's at the basics, but I mean you don't see people out with their high-end Matthews rig that they're going to use for deer hunting for the most part, or do you?
I mean, everybody starts somewhere. Some guys will try that, but they find out quick that with them, the real fast bows, that if you miss something, you're stuck in the ground pretty good. So you usually want to shoot anything less than 40 pounds, roughly. It's just, you don't really know nothing fancy. I mean, some people obviously progress to the fancy stuff, but you can just have a garage sale bow that you find that you can throw a hand spool on it and a fish arrow, and there's multiple ways to rig them up, but it's relatively cheap to get started. But pretty much any lower poundage bow will work.
I would think a recurve would be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's personal preference. There's some guys that like the long bows, there's some guys that like the recurves. They're nice and light. They're just a little bit longer, but I mean, it's all personal preference of what you got. And some people just use what they have laying around, or they use their old dad's hunting bow.
Sure, why not?
Or they may just find something in the garage sale that's cheap and they want to get out and try it just to get into it, and then from there they'll, narrow down what they like and what they don't like.
So you're shooting whatever bow you can get your hands on. The arrows are real heavy duty. What are they? Fiberglass?
Yeah, they're more often they're a solid fiberglass shaft, and then the fish tip on it doesn't actually get cut, but it has barbs, so when it goes through, the fish can't get off of the barbs, the way they are.
And you've got some kind of a line or a cord that connects the end of that arrow to your bow in some way, usually to a reel, right?
Yeah, I mean, there are different kinds. There's some of them that have the cheaper style hand reels. There's also retrievers. Some companies make those that it's pretty much open all the time. So as soon as you shoot, the line's hooked on it and you just reel it back in when you pull a trigger. And then the other ones are more like the Zupcos, or the one a lot of people refer to as the Muzzy brand. They're more of a spin cast type, and it's kind of like a regular fishing reel for the most part. You just push the button and you shoot and reel it back in.
What's the best way to go for a reel, for a retrieval tool?
Either way. I mean, there's some guys that shoot the AMS retrievers. A lot of guys shoot the Muzzy spinning reels. I mean, everybody has their personal preference. I think they're really both great options. They all do the same thing in the scheme of things. They're all bringing them fish in the boat.
We're talking with Jesse Hurst of the Bowfish Association of Michigan, the website bowfishbam.com, bowfishbam.com. Jesse, we got to take a break. Can you hang around a few more minutes?
You got it.
All right. Jesse Hurst, the new president of the Bowfishing Association of Michigan. If you have not tried bow fishing, I would strongly recommend you do it. It's not something I do a lot, but I have done it, and it is an absolute riot. And one of the great things about living here in Michigan is, right, you can't do everything. You got to kind of pick your passions, because right when bow fishing season's going on is when early walleye fishing's going on, is when turkey season's going on, is when morel mushroom season is going on. So we're blessed to live in a state where there's so many different outdoor recreational opportunities we have to pick and choose. But I would encourage you to check out bow fishing. as one of those options. It's a great activity for kids. Jesse and I will talk about that more after the break. And it's easy to get started. You don't need a big fancy rig. You can get yourself an old bow. You can walk the local ditch or creek and just have a riot. Bowfishbam.com, bowfishbam.com. More after the break with Jesse Hurst right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Houghton Lake on 98.5 WUPS. You can hear us in Lansing on WILS 1320 AM. You can hear us in Muskegon on WKBZ, that's 1090 AM. And you can hear us in St. Joe, a longtime affiliate, WSJM 94.9 FM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Great Lakes Charter Training. I think this is a wonderful option. If you've ever wanted to be a licensed charter captain, a licensed captain, forget about charter, a licensed captain, whether it be a charter boat, a dive boat, a sailboat, a towboat, sightseeing excursions, you've got to be licensed. I took my class from Captain Mel Stackpool last spring. Passed the class. Woohoo! Passed my Coast Guard test. Yippee! Which was not an easy thing to do. Right now, as you can imagine, at Great Lakes Charter Training, they are not offering any in-person classes. Last I heard from Captain Mel is they were looking to get certified in an online version of the class. To check on that, go to their website, glctraining.com. That's glctraining.com, and you get the latest information. Whether that is done or not, when this all clears up, and you're looking to get your captain's license, I think Great Lakes Charter Training is indeed the way to go. glctraining.com, glctraining.com. And along that line, I did receive a notification from the Coast Guard that my application for my captain's license is now officially in the system. I had to jump through a lot of hoops to get that in the system, just the way everything is right now. And I would imagine it's going to be a long time till I hear the results, but I'm in the system. So wish me luck on that. Right now, we're talking with Jesse Hurst, and Jesse is the president of the Michigan Bowfishing Association, bowfishbam.com, bowfishbam.com. Jesse, bowfishing really is a great activity to get kids involved, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Like most kids, they want to be outside anyways. They love tagging along. They love helping. They can do all that bowfishing.
And, again, they're going to throw a lot of arrows. You take them out deer hunting, and it could be pretty boring. Bow fishing is far from boring.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, there's not many slow nights, and usually if it's bad weather, you're usually not out there anyway. So, I mean, with the kids, too, also, even if you get them on the boat at night, or during the day, there's wildlife everywhere. It's just being outdoors in general. I mean, it's kind of a win-win, being outside and being able to bow fish or, spear from the bank or whatever. It's a good time.
When you guys go out there in that shallow water with these boats after dark and these big light systems and you light up this shallow water, it's got to be cool. I can't even imagine the type of critters and fish that you see on a night in the water.
Yeah, I mean, we see it all. I mean, you see the soft. You see places that have the soft-shell turtles everywhere. You see places that have real bad problems with the muskrats. You got the bird life. They're everywhere. It's just, you get it all. I mean, you get the water to yourself for the most part. Whatever's there, you're going to see it. You see places that have some beavers. It's a good time.
You ever sneak into some of these areas in the middle of the night and see like a monster muskie or pike or a sturgeon or something that just takes your breath away?
Oh yeah. There's been a few places I've been on that we've seen some muskie that just out of nowhere you just see that. You think it's a log at first, then it moves, and you realize it's a huge fish, and maybe not so much the muskie because we don't bow fish waters with muskie, but a lot of times it'll be the pike,
Yeah.
Or say, like I was going to say about the beaver too, there's times you come up on them, you don't know they're even there, and all of a sudden they'll splash and it just scares you to death, you don't expect it.
Is it hard? Because I want to stress to people, not all fish can be shot. There is a very specific list of fish that you guys can target. is it hard when you're looking at these things in the water to know what you're looking at? Is there the danger of shooting the wrong fish?
I mean, there is, but for the most part, you just need to, just be confident what you're shooting at. You don't want to be shooting at anything that's swimming. You got to identify what it is first and go from there, just like duck hunting or something.
That's a good point. If in doubt, just don't let the arrow fly.
Yeah, or just keep waiting until you get a better look at it. Don't just rush the shot.
What's the best fighting fish you guys shoot?
I mean, for the most part, they all fight really good because they don't like what we're doing with them. But obviously, the bigger the fish, the bigger the fight. Like some of the buffalo carp, they'll put a really good fight on. I mean, I really don't think there's really a fish that doesn't fight good. I mean,
well, you get a 20-pound carp on the end of your line with no fishing rod to have spring in it to take up the slack. I mean, you got to have your hands full.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes depending on what you're using, you can kind of, if you're pulling the line in by hand with the retrievers, you can, let the line go through your fingers or, let it down with your arm to take up some of the tension. Or with some of the other spin cast type reels, you have a drag you can actually play with to, try to eliminate a little bit of that and the stress on the line and without breaking the line. You kind of work your bow almost like a fishing pole a little bit to kind of fight them in.
You mentioned spearing too. I guess I'd forgotten that is now legal here in Michigan, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean that's kind of the way to break some of the kids in. Some of these kids can't pull back some of these bows, and they're a little heavy. So there's some people who make up some spears that they have a real small shaft that's pretty light, where you can get them on some fish, on the boat. And just kind of get their feet in the door with it, and then from there you progress up to a bow, and you kind of go from there.
Well, I mean, think about it. Didn't we all, as kids, travel the creek banks with a spear in our hand for frogs? I mean, this is just kind of the next step, and it's something a kid is going to gravitate to and absolutely love.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. That's how I started. Actually, get to use the father-in-law's boat. We knew there's some fish there, and we started off with spears. From there, just went to where we are today in the tournament fishing and stuff.
Now, what do you guys do with these fish? That's always the question I get. Well, they're out there shooting these fish, but what do you do with them?
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to for sure touch on is that some people, they go out without a plan and don't really have that idea of what they're going to do with these fish when they get done. And it's actually illegal to dump fish, at the launches in the ditches. You need to take them home with you, dig a hole, bury them. Some people like them for their gardens. Some people put them on their food plots and they'll chunk them up with the disc and then they'll till them in. You definitely have to have a plan as far as that goes, because the dumping the fish puts a bad name on it for us.
Sure. And some of your big tournaments. Oh, by the way, do you have tournaments scheduled, or are they all on hold right now?
We do still. They got pushed back with the whole virus scare. We have the new schedules up on our website if people are interested.
At bowfishbam.com.
Yep, bowfishbam.com.
My point was that some of your big tournaments, I mean, you guys take, I don't know, thousands of pounds of fish out of these waters?
Yeah, I know. Last year at one of our base shoots, we filled 2 20-yard dumpsters to the brim. And it was a depending on the weather and how many boats show up and what the fish are doing, you can get into a lot of fish. And it was a great tournament.
It's got to be, and some people might not understand this, but it's got to be good for a body of water when you can take that many, I don't want to call them trash fish, but a lot of times they get thought of as trash fish. Take that many fish out of the environment, it's better for what we normally think of as the game fish.
Yeah, especially if you're talking like carp, they're so prolific and they grow so fast that it's hard to stay ahead of the reproductive curve. So the more fish we can get out of the water, the less they're breeding, the less they're spawning. So whatever we can do to get rid of those fish definitely helps the ecosystem from the bottom up.
I always think about bow fishing on the Great Lakes, like a Saginaw Bay that I'm real familiar with, or an inland lake. But what about a river? Can you bow fish a river?
Yeah, for sure. Depending on what you're doing, I mean, you got to watch. Some of the rivers around here are real shallow and have a lot of rocks if you're going to be in a boat. But the rivers always hold the carp and the suckers. Those are the 2 main ones you're going to find.
It's got to be harder.
You want to go.
It's got to be harder though in the river because you're fighting the current. So you got to hold your boat in the right spot. And then, if you have any current at all, does that affect your shot? Does that move the arrow?
No, we're shooting shallow enough shots, but it's not really a factor.
So how deep down are these fish?
I mean, for the most part, while we're fishing is anywhere from 1 foot to, I'd say, 4 or 5 foot. Some of these lakes, either up like farther north you go, or even some of the lakes down here that the clearer the water, you can actually get some deeper shots. Usually, got to crank the bow up a little bit more. Maybe shoot a heavier arrow to get down there to them. But for the most part, they're all within, I'd say, 1 to 3 foot of water.
Well, and once you start looking at 3, 4, 5 feet of water, it's a whole different ballgame, right? Because where you see that fish to shoot at is not where he is.
Yep. The deeper water, the lower you need to aim. So, I mean, just depending on where they're at and how big the fish is it lets you judge how much farther below them you need to aim.
Is that what it is? You shoot below them?
Yeah, because of with the refraction of the light, the fish isn't actually where you're seeing it. So you have to aim lower to make up for that.
Jesse, I would think, I know that you guys are very PR savvy. You want people to get involved and interested in your sport. And I think you use these tournaments and some kids events as great ways to bring people in, right?
That's for sure. It starts with the kids, that's what gets people into it, and if you start as a kid, usually for the most part you stay into it, it's turns into one of your hobbies, I know this year our youth tournament got pushed back to June 6th. And it's at Eagle Bay Marina on Saginaw Bay.
Oh, that'll be a good shoot. That'll be a good shoot, won't it?
Yep. And it's all free for the kids. We get all the captains that are volunteers, and they'll take all the kids that can get on the boat, safely. And we put a great event on. Brian Gilson, he's the head of that, and he does a really great job.
Would a kid have to bring his own gear, or do you even set him up?
Kids can bring their own stuff. I mean, for the most part, we'll have the majority of what we need. It definitely helps to bring stuff if you have it. There's also prizes to be won. More equipment. Sometimes we'll have some bows if we get lucky. So, and so it's a day event, so you can have the family involved. There's a campground right there. We do a cookout for them. It's really not a long shoot because we don't want the kids to get bored or to get sunburned too bad or nothing. Sure. So. It's just a great event. It's free to the kids,
And details on that, I'm sure, on the website, bowfishbam.com.
Yes, they will be.
All right. Jesse Hurst, listen, I appreciate your time, and thanks for stepping up. That's what we need in our volunteer organizations, are people like you who are willing to step up and maybe put a little bit more time in than some of the other folks, and with that comes responsibility. So I thank you for doing that, Jesse. Thanks for your time today as well.
Yep. I appreciate you having us on here, and looking forward to a good season this year. Thanks.
All right. A good season indeed. Jesse Hurst from the Michigan Bowfishing Association, bowfishbam.com. How cool of a website is that? Bowfish Bam. Bam, bam. Bowfishbam.com is the website. Jesse Hurst is the president of that organization. We'll take a break here on the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, I got a few more things to talk about, and then we'll wrap up this week's show, as we always do, or almost always do, with wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. That's right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Tawas on WIOS, AM and FM, 1480 AM, 106.9 FM. You can hear us in Sandusky on WMIC at 660 AM. And you can hear us in Saginaw on our flagship station, News Radio 790 WSGW. I say flagship with no disrespect to any of our affiliate stations, but I have a very close relationship with the folks here at WSGW. In fact, I'm in their studio right now. Now, while I'm here, it's called the Outdoor Magazine Studio, but the rest of the week, it's WSGW. And I'm in here with Charlie Root, who's doing a wonderful job, as always, as he turns and waves to the adoring fans, the crowd. You can hear the roar. There. Oh, you missed it. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Wilds Plumbing and Heating. Right now, like many other businesses, most of the folks at Wilds are not working. They're allowed to do emergency work. So if you have a problem, you can get in touch with them and they can come out. But the routine stuff is going to have to wait a little bit. Plumbing, heating, air conditioning, sump pumps, ductwork cleaning, you name it. Everything to keep your house warm or cool dry and comfortable, the folks at Wilds can take care of it. Check them out online at wildsplumbingandheating.com. That's wildsplumbingandheating.com. Interesting times. And a lot of confusion, actually, too. In my mind, at least. Maybe not yours, but in my mind, there's still some confusion about what we can and cannot do. Because, originally it said, okay, well, you can get outside for recreation, hunting and fishing. And then it was like, well, no, you can't because the boat launches are closed. Well, they're not. I think the confusion actually comes from a lack of information. As of right now, when I'm in the studio, Wednesday, April 8th, there are no DNR launches closed other than the one by Tippy. There are some county and city launches that are closed, but no DNR launches. There is nothing on the books that sets a limit on the number of miles you can drive. I don't care what you're seeing on Facebook. Oh, there's a 20-mile limit. There's no 20-mile limit. There is nothing hard, fast, set in stone. There are no plans at this point to cancel the springtime turkey season. You've seen that on Facebook, too. Now, could that change? You bet it could change. Our commander-in-chief at the state level could come down and say, okay, this is what I want to do, and it would have to be done. And the DNR would have to act on that. It's not their decision. They're doing what they have to do. I guess it is true. Ron Olson from the DNR confirmed this in our second hour, that COs, conservation officers, are actually in the process now in some places of checking people in the boats. If you've got multiple people in a boat, that they might check you and see if you are from the same residence or not, because you're supposed to be from the same household. Nick Green from MUCC made some interesting comments in our first hour this week. He said, look, why look to skirt the executive order? He points out something interesting that I hadn't really thought of. Is look at there, we all want to go hunting and fishing, but there are a lot of eyes on us right now because we are the people out there in the field, the hunters and the anglers. A lot of people watching us. So let's do things that will portray us in a positive manner, as we always do. I've always said, folks who love the outdoors, hunters and anglers and shooters and trappers, the salt of the earth. I've been so blessed to be able to make a living in this business and work with people like you. Beats the heck out of back when I was in TV news working city council and that kind of stuff. I can't imagine. I'd have been retired a long time ago if I was still doing that kind of stuff. And I have no plans. No plans to retire. Join me for our Wednesday night lives, if you would, by the way, on the Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page, the YouTube channel, and my Vimeo channel as well. Starting next week, we're giving away freaking pickles. We had been giving away Michigan brand hams for Easter up until this point. Next week, we start giving away freaking pickles, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a nice get-together, especially going a little bit stir-crazy. You just want to come in and shoot the breeze, go to the Facebook page, Mike Avery Outdoors Facebook page. Join us every Wednesday morning at 8:45 here from the studio, and every Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. And finally, before we turn it over to Wild Game Chef Dave Miner in the next segment, my wish for you is a blessed Easter weekend, that you will find some peace and some comfort in the fact, especially now on Easter weekend, that with everything going on in this crazy world right now, God is in control. He proved that with the original Easter when he sent his son to die for us and then was resurrected. If that God can do that, and he can take care of coronavirus. If there ever was a time when you looked around and said, man, I'm not in control of what's going on, and man in general is not in control of what's going on, it would be right now, wouldn't it? But God is in control, and it'll be all right. And I think Easter is the perfect time to think about that. Get outdoors, Get some fresh air, clear your mind, refresh your soul, strengthen your body. Enjoy this wonderful Easter weekend. Keep in mind the real reason it's not Easter bunny and chocolate eggs, it's something much more. If you can do that, I think you're going to be in a better place. We'll take a break, wrap it up with Dave Miner, coming up right here on Outdoor Magazine. Welcome back to Outdoor Magazine. So glad to have you along with us. I really appreciate this opportunity each week to put all the other stuff aside and just talk about hunting and fishing as much as we can. I mean, you know, things will work their way into our conversation, but what we want to do with this show is celebrate the outdoors, the experience of getting out there and chasing critters, fish, game, of interacting with Mother Nature. And the ultimate reward, if you want it to be, is a great wild game or a fish dinner on the table. And nobody does that better than wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner. And he's with us once again. David, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing good, and thank you for the kind words.
Well, Dave, I mean, you know what I think about you. I have so much respect. You and I have worked together since we were young.
Just kids.
Just kids. Have you had a chance to do any fishing? Have you found any fish yet?
Yeah, we just got some perch. That was it. Some
good.
Small perch.
Oh, good.
Nothing big.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, listen.
Yeah.
Last
How
week
about
on
yourself? Have you been out?
No, the angler quest is sequestered. I can't get to her quite yet, so I think I'm going to wait until after turkey season and get her then.
Oh yeah. We've been walking around our pond with the dogs, exercising them and ourselves, and there's turkey tracks everywhere.
Ah, nice. Well, I know where you can get a tag.
Yep, me too.
Hey, listen, last week here on the show, we were talking about, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, but recently talking about Southern Lake Michigan coho fishing. Mm-hmm. Now, those fish are so good coming out of that cold water, and Charlie tells me you're thinking about a coho recipe for this week.
Yeah. To me, coho is one of the nicer, finest flavored fish. I like them really, really well. And so we got a baked stuffed coho with blueberries. We do a blueberry sauce with walleye and sometimes with salmon at the restaurant, when the restaurant's open, of course. But this is a nice dish. So you're going to need 2 larger fillets. And a coho is really not a large fish normally, so it's going to work out real nice. You want to debone them. You want to first fillet them and then skin them down. And down the middle, up to the dorsal fin, there's a lateral line of bones. You want to take a real sharp knife, and so you don't waste too much meat, and you want to trim on each side of those bones down to get rid of them. So you want to take one of them fillets and split it back a little bit more. So you're going to take about a cup of dried blueberries, or you could use fresh if you like, a couple ounces of blueberry schnapps, a medium onion diced real fine. I like to put them real small salad shrimp in this. That really builds up that perspective, how nice it looks. And a couple of beaten up eggs, 2 or 3 cloves of garlic diced very, very fine, about a half a teaspoon or tablespoon of coarse chopped basil, half a cup of walnuts, a couple of cups of breadcrumbs, or you could use real fine diced bread. That would be good, and a dash of white pepper. So take all of those ingredients and mix them up very, very well, and microwave a little bit of it and taste it and see if that's what you're looking for. If it's a little dry, you can add a little milk to this. So after you get that done, you want to lay on a baking sheet the one fillet down with the skin side down, rib side up, and then put as much or as little of this dressing that we've made down the middle of this fillet. The other one that you've split back 3/4 of the way, you want to take and lay that on top with the skin side down, rib side up. And so that'll make a nice packet, And on the buttered baking dish, you can put this in the oven at 350 degrees. And if you'd like, you could top this before you put it in the oven let's say 3, 4, 5 pats of fresh soft butter, a little sprinkling of the blueberry schnapps, and maybe a little squeeze of lemon juice on top, and then bake that at 350 degrees. Now, another variation, you could take large king salmon, and you could lay a piece down, make about a 6, 7 ounce piece of the salmon, lay that on the baking sheet, take the other one, and if it's near the head, you want to butterfly that. Open it up, and then you can make that split down the middle and lay that king salmon fillet on top of the other one and do the same thing, bake it like that. And that comes out real good. And I've done this with walleye and grouper, actually, too. It comes out real nice. So it's a really, and you want to bake this 170 degrees inside temperature, 350 degrees uncovered, and it might take up to 15 minutes to do.
It sounds wonderful.
You want to make sure that it's done enough because it's got eggs in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, good point. It sounds wonderful, but I didn't hear you add any pepper to this.
Just a little bit of white pepper would be good.
Okay. There you salvage it. There you go.
I wouldn't use the ground pepper, the fresh grated pepper. That might be a little too tough for this dish.
I don't know, Dave. I think you can put ground fresh pepper on anything.
For the general public, I would use white pepper.
All right, my friend. I'm just pulling your leg. You know that.
I know that.
But you're the one who got me hooked on that coarse, fresh ground pepper, though, so I'm putting it back on your shoulders.
I know.
All right, David.
Other pepper doesn't have that flavor to it.
All right. Listen, I appreciate the recipe. Have fun on your quest to find some fish, and we'll talk with you next week.
Going to start going again soon. Now that the wind has died down up here.
Perfect. Wild game chef extraordinaire Dave Miner, a big part of the Outdoor Magazine show, as are you, because if you weren't listening, there would be no reason to do this show, and I would be very, very sad. Join me during the week. Hey, listen, if you want to get in touch with me, send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Check me out on social media. Join us for the Wednesday Night Lives. And what else? Have a blessed Easter weekend, and we will talk with you next time right here on Outdoor Magazine.